a huge, outstanding win for your Denver Broncos over the hated Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, that's right. 44 points dropped today, the most at home for the Denver Broncos since some guy named Peyton Manning was their quarterback. 44-24, the final score. Broncos rolling 4-0 at home, 6-2 on the season. Cowboys are 3-4-1, 1-4 away. Denver gets it done. How do they get it done? Your comments from the chat room. Tomfoolery abounds. So let's go, man. All right, here we go. It is Orange and Blue today, post-game live. I am your host, Cecil Lammey, feeling good, feeling, I don't want to say shocked or surprised. I joked around on the air on Dover and Cecil. I was like, it's going to be 51-50, my Van Halen score, a Broncos win, and 51 points sounded incredible. 50 points allowed by the defense sounded even more incredible. And the Broncos got 44 of them things. And yeah, garbage time touchdown in this one late by the Dallas Cowboys. Big deal. Not a problem. Broncos defense gets it done. Broncos offense gets it done. The sweet looking throwbacks. And I rarely wear this jersey. One, because it's old and it's a real old champion jersey. Terrell Davis with the old Broncos logos. So 95, 96. That's when this jersey was made. And so I only break it out on special occasions. I thought today would be said special occasion. And in fact, going to be an Orange Monday with Broncos country excited about the future of this team, excited about what this team can do going forward. I mentioned last week after that craziness that it took in the fourth quarter, like, man, it'd be nice to get off to a hot start. I mentioned during the week, man, it'd be nice if RJ Harvey did something. In fact, I had guessed wrongly that maybe Tyler Bidet would get more work. Wrongly guessed on that. It was definitely an RJ Harvey day. It was definitely a rookie day. And they did get off to that hot start, the interception notwithstanding. And I think that pick in the very first drive on the third play or whatever it was, I really think that was on Pat Bryant for not running his route correctly. And Bo seemed like he put it in the wrong spot. I don't think it's on Bo, but whatever. It's a big win. So really, when you look at this team and what they can do, you go, all right, it's Dallas. Their defense is terrible. But I was expecting much more from their offense. And take away the garbage time Joe Milton touchdown to Jalen Tolbert, or I guess your heel's in. That's okay now. And your toe can be out or something. Doesn't matter. Tony Romo going on and on about the Cowboys. They actually had a package of like a TV package for the damn blocking tight end. And I'm like, seriously? Romo, I know. We get it. We get it, buddy. You're a former Cowboy. But call the game correctly. Anyway, annoyances aside, y'all have to feel pretty good about this game and everything that they did. Really, I mean, what is there to say other than they were rolling and they still didn't play perfect football? Like, that's the thing. You see this sort of victory, you see the big win by the Denver Broncos, and you think, and that still wasn't a perfect game. And they don't need to be perfect. I'm certainly not complaining about this game, but it just makes you go, all right, look at that record. Look at how the two losses happened. I want a rematch with the Chargers that we're going to get. What is that, week 18? I want a rematch with the Colts, which might be in the playoffs. I want the Patriots in the playoffs. I want the Bills in the playoffs. Like, who is a concern for this team? With the way that they're playing, if they could play like they did today, and they're not going to face a slappy defense every time, okay? And before anyone that can't stand the Broncos, I don't know why non-Broncos fans watch a post-game show, but before anyone chimes in like, well, the Cowboys defense sucks. Yeah, and that's what you do to a team that sucks. You beat them down. It's one of the reasons why, when you play these games, you're like, okay, you're up against a crappy team, then you have to like take them down. And that's exactly what the Broncos did today. So you love to see it. You want to see more, and you want to see this team continue to play this way, regardless of who they face. So when they face a slappy defense, they need to slap them around. And the way this offense had been playing, did you really think it was going to happen? Again, I said jokingly 51-50, and I did have a final score prediction of 35-31 Broncos win on Friday's edition of Dover and Cecil. They got a lot more than that, and things got ugly for the Cowboys. Broncos defense was doing their thing and making plays. Dondrea Tillman, I think it was Chris Harris that said, hey, give him some tight end snaps. Like, yeah, if that's the way, if that's going to happen, then go for it. That's what you should do. Because, man, and everyone's joking. Nobody take that seriously, for the love of God. But, like, it was all clicking for this defense. The Riley Moss stuff is a little annoying just because all the pass interference, like, it's not, you could call holding on every play in the NFL, and you could call DPI on many plays, if not every play, but you have to just keep throwing the flag on Riley Moss. Like, seriously, there was times when, yeah, there's DPI, but it's just, you got to let him play. And they weren't really letting him play. I don't know, trying to keep the Cowboys in it or sticking around. And honestly, I think the NFL, was it just me? And chat room, I'm going to get to your questions in about 20 minutes. Did you notice less of the gambling stuff today? You know what I mean? And maybe it's just me because I'm not a gambler. As an owner of a small business, can't really lose a whole lot of money. Don't really have a whole lot of money to lose. But I certainly, gambling is just not my thing. If it's your thing, go. That's awesome. I don't even care. I'm not being judgy. I didn't notice as much today, and it was nice. Whether that's from the NBA being rigged, allegedly, or whatever, or the gambling scandal from the NBA, I just thought it was kind of refreshing. Maybe totally wrong, and everything's brought to you by FanDuel or DraftKings or whatever. Like, yeah, but it was nice to see that, and it was nice to not have the calls where you're like, why did they make that call? Like you see, pretty much commonplace now in the image problem that the NBA does have. So the Broncos go out there, they get it done, and you have to be over the moon to see this offense clicking in the way that it can click, to see another 100-yard game for J.K. Dobbins. It's exactly what you want. And I wanted 20 carries. I said the thing that you have to do against Dallas, you have to flood the zone. You have to run 20 carries for JK. He didn't get 20, but he got over 100. I'll take it, either one. And then pray defensively. Well, your prayers were answered because Vance Joseph on National Tight Ends Day, Jake Ferguson, and I understand if you're not, a fantasy football player or a Cowboys fan, you might not know that Jake Ferguson is having a historic beginning to a tight end season. He got a fat goose egg. I'd say the most surprising thing, it's not that RJ Harvey did something finally since week 1. We've been waiting for that. I said after week 6, I'm going to be judging RJ Harvey differently. It doesn't take that long for running backs to translate. It's week 8, Harvey. Week 7, not so much. Week 8 blows it up. You want to continue to see more from Harvey. This Dobbins-Harvey duo is really fun to watch when they're clicking. The most surprising thing wasn't that Pat Bryant gets in the end zone. Certainly wasn't surprising that Bo Nix gets another 4 touchdowns. Back-to-back games, the first time since Peyton Manning back in 2013 did that for the Denver Broncos, so that's great. If you look at this now and you say, what's the most surprising thing? Jake Ferguson had nothing. That's the most surprising thing. So Vance Joseph, an outstanding job from BJ to shut down the league's best tight end. Statistically, and this start historically has been the best start for a tight end in NFL history. And Jake Ferguson got nothing today. I know what Schoonmaker, right? Where's Peyton Hendershot? Schoonmaker got a couple catches there, 25 yards, whatever. But Pickens mostly contained. Again, there's some garbage time numbers here. Lamb mostly contained. Again, some garbage time numbers. You had 19 targets for those 2 receivers. You had 14 catches and, math, 151 yards, 52 yards. Right? Is my math right? So yeah, I mean, they got some, but they didn't get you. Javonte got 2 rushing touchdowns, but it's 3.2 yards a carry. It's 41 yards on the ground. Okay, so he got a couple there. All right, but it was 24 points. And again, 7 of that is just a garbage time, throw it up there, touchdown from Joe Milton to Jalen Tolbert. So what a fantastic job from this Broncos defense. Only sacking Dak Prescott 2 times, but also hitting him 8 times. Remember, this team coming into this game after 7 games had an outstanding 70 quarterback hits. 70. So they averaged 10 a game. They got 9 today. You're going to get hit if you face the Denver Broncos, and this Broncos defense certainly was punishing Dak Prescott, even there was only 2 sacks. They certainly are, you're going to feel their presence, and that was certainly the case with the Dallas Cowboys. So what an outstanding game plan from Sean Payton. What an outstanding game plan from Vance Joseph. Special teams wasn't even much of an issue. So Coach Rizzi, maybe the first solid game from the Rizzi special teams. So you feel outstanding about this Broncos performance, and you get excited about what they can be going forward. I said 9-2 at the bye is a possibility. My handy dandy note card, I had them at 8-3 at the bye. I did have this one as a win. Both Mason and I had a loss at Houston next week. This is when the schedule just came out. So we're going to watch what Houston did today. Going to reassess things and where the Broncos are at. Can they continue like this rolling? Houston's defense, not a million times better than Dallas, but if you want to say 100 times better than Dallas, then you'd be accurate because, again, Dallas's defense sucks. But don't at me, bro, because when you face a defense that sucks, you put it on them. And that's what the Broncos did with those 44 points. So if you've got a Mountain Dew, crack it, because this one's for you, Broncos country. What an outstanding day, and you love to see it. You want to see this continue. And that's the one thing that we've all been asking for the Denver Broncos. People like when I show the Bo Leave sticker. So I think the shirt's somewhere over here. But anyway, so yeah, Bo Leave. Do you Bo Leave now with another 4-touchdown game for Bo Nix? But a lot of people are just asking for consistency, and it's fair. It's fair. I understand sometimes YouTube comments are not real kind or just, ignorant, basically. But when people this week were like, oh, you guys on the fan, you're hating on the Broncos. No, we're saying, can you be more consistent? Because Dallas has a really good offense. You have a very good defense, but it's irresistible force, immovable object. Well, whichever one the Broncos are, let's just say irresistible force, they are the ones that won today over that immovable object in the Cowboys offense, which was moved. So it's not being negative. It's just being realistic about this team had not been clicking on all cylinders offensively. Again, they weren't clicking 100% today, but close enough. And this is how dangerous this team can be. And it's not Broncos Homer stuff. That's not the show that will give you. This is not the show that will give you that. We're going to talk about everything here. Mason and I will go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. But if you just look and consider, this team could be undefeated right now. 2 last-second kicks. That's it. And this Broncos team is undefeated. So what are the haters going to say then? The answer is, who gives a... You know what? It doesn't matter. Well, hate on the Broncos. They only beat this, and they're going to beat... Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Keep winning. Keep winning. Start clicking. You don't want to peak too soon. You definitely want kind of that reset button before the playoffs. You've got a bye week coming up. What is that, week 12? So, yeah, at some point, whether it's the Packers that give you that kind of call in week 15, whatever, you want to get hot at the right time in the NFL. This team is just starting to click, and it's week 8. So it's a very complicated system in Sean Payton, but today Sean Payton did things that Bo likes to do, and Bo was dotting them all across the field. For anyone out there, and it doesn't matter, I really, even giving lip service to the haters, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to my audience here with you guys and 2,000 people watching live. Thank you very much. Got 500 comments. I'll get to them in 15 more minutes. But I look at this and I go, that throw to Pat Bryant specifically, there are others, and there's been plenty this season. If you know football, you know that Bo Nix can make those stick throws. Now, he's not going to throw opposite field 80 yards on a rope like Josh Allen or John Elway could do. But that Bryant throw, it's so damn good. I just put it on a loop. And thank you, Pat Bryant, for doing the Mile High salute, because that was flipping awesome. Bring it back, man. It's a celebration that should be in the Mile High City, and you love to see it. But that Bryant throw specifically, like, if you're saying anything bad about Bo Nix, you're just ignorant, or you just hate on him for troll reasons. And I personally don't understand trolls, but whatever, you do you. I hope you're happy being an internet troll. I'm sure your parents are proud. But like that Bo Nix throw, and again, there's more. But that one to Bryant, not everybody can do that. Okay? Bo Nix has special talent as a passer. He doesn't have the rocket arm. Okay? Big deal. You don't need that. Brady didn't have the rocket arm. Manning didn't have the rocket arm. Eli didn't have the rocket arm. So it's like, okay. And I've compared Bo Nix often to either Jared Goff or Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was an MVP of this league, so don't at me, bro. But like those two don't have rocket arms either. Goff's a little bit stronger, but still, like that Pat Bryant throw is a throw with the timing and the touch of an elite pro quarterback. Yeah, I said it. Elite pro quarterback. That's what Bo Nix can do when he's comfortable. And Tony Romo, when he wasn't blowing bubbles at the Cowboys, he did admit, like, hey, that's a kid, that's a stick throw, that's a pro throw, you know. So most of the game, it's super annoying listening to Tony Romo, but he did actually praise Bo Nix sometimes in terms of like his throws. And I believe Romo talked about his comfort level, like he's super, super comfortable. And so that's something that when he's comfortable, that's it. That's it. So when he's comfortable, that's when he is on point. Sorry, phone. I'm doing a post-game show, for the love of God. Anyway. So yes, Bo Nix, pro throws, stick throws, and an amazing performance. Bo Nix looking comfortable. And Sean Payton figuring it out. You got to run the damn ball, Sean. And when you look at, as a team, 28 carries, 179 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. And that is 29 passing attempts from Bo Nix. That's damn near 50-50 balance. It's perfect. It's the perfect recipe. It's the perfect combination. And it's the combination that you need. You don't want Bo Nix throwing it 40 times. You don't want Bo Nix throwing it 52 times. You want Bo Nix throwing it about 25 to 30 times. You want to run the ball about 25 to 30 times. Again, snaps this year are down in the league, roughly around 61 a game on average for everybody. So if I go 61, give me 30 rushes, give me 31 passes, done. The Broncos essentially did that today. And look at the result. Again, look at the result. Look at what this team can do when they're rolling. Look at what this team can do when they put it all together and Bo Nix is comfortable. It's outstanding football. And it's football that can take you a long way. As someone who had him at 13-4, and all y'all said I was crazy. All right. You see, do you see what I see? I see a team that when they're clicking, and this is like, they had the Philadelphia Eagles fourth quarter. They had the last week fourth quarter against the Giants. And this entire game, they were clicking for the most part. Let's say 80% instead of 100%. Again, the pick, some drops, whatever. So it's not like everything went perfect. It's a football game. Not everything's going to go perfect. But if you see what this team can do with Bo Nix out there, don't you get excited about a deep playoff run? When you see the way this team can run the ball and Sean Payton can call a game, don't you get excited about this team making a deep playoff run? So I said 10 wins is an insult. 11 wins just means you're riding the fence. I think they'll win 11 this year, guys. Yeah, they're a little better than last year with a flipping rookie and not as many weapons. Certainly not leaning on the ground game with those 200-yard games now for J.K. Dobbins. Just keep it up, man. Keep it up with JK. RJ Harvey doing more. He needs a lot of praise. I know certainly on Friday. Cornbread. If Cornbread is in the chat room, because he's in the chat room on Dover and Cecil, And we are the Bo Show. We thank you guys out there for just the support of Dover and Cecil. Thank you for the support of Orange and Blue today. It's been outstanding. The response is outstanding, but this Broncos team is outstanding. So Friday on Dover and Cecil, Cornbread's at me in the chat room. He's like, the legend RJ Harvey, I'm going to make you remember this, Cecil, because I was saying, hey, maybe Tyler Bidet gets more of an opportunity because of the way that Harvey did not do anything past week 6. And again, one game in week 7, but week 6, ramp it up. I guess it's week 8 is when he ramped it up and took off. So Cornbread, you were right. And I was wrong about RJ Harvey in week 8. And I am happy to admit that. I am happy to talk about that as someone who got labeled the RJ Harvey guy because I wanted to see Harvey more. I wanted to see this ground game look like this. This is how this ground game can look like. On a weekly basis, you can do this. On a weekly basis, regardless of the opponent, you can do this. You can have those 30 carries. Now, if your opponent is tougher, because again, I fully recognize the Cowboys defense sucks. So it's not going to be 6.4 a carry every time. But as long as you're over 4 yards a carry, 30 carries as a team, 4 yards a carry, there's 120 yards on the day, and those would be hard-fought yards if you're around 4 yards a carry as a team. Yeah, hell yeah, all day. I want this rinse and repeat game plan. Whatever you did, Sean, it worked. Use Evan Ingram a little bit more, Sean. Use Pat Bryant. You block, you'll get the rock. He is getting the rock, so you love to see that. Again, that dot throw, perfect throw by Bo Nix in the end zone for Pat Bryant. More of Troy Franklin. It's a good thing. And Sutton do his thing. Sutton dropping the touchdown. Felt bad for him because that's Court. That's my guy. So Sutton should have had, there should have been another. They should have gotten to 51 because it's 44-24. I certainly wanted a Van Halen 51-50 game. Broncos win. But Court with 4 for 67 on this one, 6 targets. And again, that drop in the end zone, that'll sting, but he comes back. He makes clutch throws. The one down the left sideline, he makes clutch sliding, takes a hit, moves the chains, and it's first down Broncos. So you love this sort of team effort from everybody because it was RJ doing it. It was JK doing it. It was Marvin Mims doing it. Mims with that drop. He was so pissed after that on his only target of the day. But Mims also had the 3 carries for 18 yards, also had a big return there as well. That's just Marvin Mims. But Bo Nix and those 4 touchdowns, an efficient passer, 247 yards, 4 touchdowns. Again, that 1 INT, not really counting that. I think that was on Pat Bryant. Could be wrong. We'll find out more. But at the end of the day, who gives a crap? Because Bo Nix was on point, 19 of 29. I mean, that's exactly what you want a quarterback to be. Because, again, not everything's going to hit the mark. But, yeah, you're only having 11 passes, and one of them went to the other team. So, 10 passes, So 9 of them with a couple of drops. Mims with 1, Court with 1, probably one else, or the one that I'm missing, maybe Troy Franklin. Although 8 targets, 6 catches, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns for Troy Franklin. 2 of them things. Pat Bryant there with his couple of catches, 40 yards, touchdown. Evan Ingram, 4 for 36. Now, this is just what Ingram's going to be. I think we all need to look at Evan Ingram and adjust things accordingly. Super excited when they signed him. He was excited. He's tweeting out the Joker memes, right? I thought I had that saved in here somewhere. I might have deleted it. But yeah, he's tweeting out the Joker memes and we're getting all excited. And well, he's not really that. He doesn't need to be that. And you're just not going to get that. You're going to go probably draft a tight end next year because you ignored drafting a tight end this year. But hey, Evan Ingram, more involved, kind of Sean getting used to guys. And again, Sean Payton calling a hell of a game. When have we been able to say that this year? A hell of a game. Not just, oh my God, did you see what they did in the fourth quarter when they went tempo and Bo Nix took over? This was Sean Payton's game to unleash his offense in the way that he wants to, utilizing all phases, utilizing all players. J.K. Dobbins with the 15 carries, 111 yards on the day. And again, R.J. Harvey, 7 for 46. I would still like a little bit more for R.J. 8 touches overall and 3 touchdowns for R.J. Harvey, which is fantastic. If you could get him from 8 touches to, let's say, around 12 touches a game on average, if not 15, then I think that's good news. While maintaining that 15, 16, maybe sometimes push it to 20 touches for J.K. Dobbins. You see the combination. You see how this can work. You see how it can work. And defensively, again, I feel like an outstanding performance. The Cowboys that you saw today were stunted, harassed. They were out of sorts. They were taken out of their game by Vance Joseph's defense. And while the Cowboys defense is a bunch of slappies and injured, by the way, ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys, that Cowboys offense, the way that Javonte's the second leading rusher in the league, and you held him to 3.2 a carry. Couple of touchdowns, I know, so fantasy GMs will be happy, but like that's outstanding. Holding them to 3.2 a carry. Handling Dak Prescott, essentially kind of handling George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb in an interesting way. We got to find out the Pat Surtain. We got information on that. Chat room, I'm 4 minutes away from getting to your comments here in the chat room. It's Orange and Blue today, post-game live. I am Cecil Lammey. Thank you all for watching. But like Pat Surtain injury, we'll find out more about that shoulder. If there's any sort of locker room updates, please let me know. If Sean Payton talked about it, probably won't say much about injuries because he never really does. But when they come out, and I think it was Tracy Wolfson on the sideline, and at the beginning of the game, she says, hey, they're going to have Pat Surtain on George Pickens. I was like, huh, interesting. Double CD, take your chances with Jake Ferguson, and then have PS2 on Pickens sometimes. That was interesting. That was Vance Joseph being creative, because you would just think, okay, well, Pickens, maybe the way that Jake Ferguson was going, I thought, would you bracket a tight end and then leave Pickens one-on-one with Riley Moss, leave CeeDee Lamb one-on-one with PS2? It was actually PS2 on Pickens for some times, and that meant Riley Moss doubling up with CeeDee Lamb, and then again, just kind of letting Jake do whatever, gets a fat goose egg on National Tight End Day, which is outstanding for this Broncos defense. Alex Singleton, a target by opponents. Talking to people around that Cowboys team, they knew that going into this week, they would try to get after Alex Singleton, and they really didn't do that. They weren't able to do that. And Singleton also causing the fumble. What was it, Jaden Blue? Causing the fumble that I thought Jaquan had. Again, back to Chris Harris's Twitter. I think Chris Harris thought that as well. So, yeah, this Broncos team rolling in all phases. And that led to a big time victory at home. And the Mile High Magic, man, Mile High Magic is there. They are 4-0 at home this year. And you've got a stretch now coming up at Houston. And then, of course, you've got Vegas Raiders at home. You've got Kansas City Chiefs at home. So by your bye, you will have played 6 home games. Are you going to be 6-0 at home by that time? Houston, defensively, going to be interesting to deal with. We'll see if the Broncos offense can move that ball. Raiders, whatever, pushovers. And that's also a short week on Thursday Night Football. And then the Chiefs surging. We'll see how the Broncos handle them before their week 12 bye. So, Broncos country, how do you feel? It should be outstanding. I feel, I don't know, not necessarily muted tonight. Maybe not as hyped as I thought it would be after this sort of big win. Maybe I just need to drink more Mountain Dew. And then I would be super hyped. I'll speak personally. I personally believe this is who I thought they could be. It's week 8, and they finally performed in the way that I thought they could. That's why I picked them for 13 wins this year. So, again, 13's a tough number. 13 means you're elite. Are the Broncos among the elite? I think it was Nate Burleson at halftime, I think, that was like, this way this game's starting shows that the Broncos aren't phonies. They're not frauds. I didn't really hear anybody saying that based on the way that you lost to the Chargers or the way that you lost to the Colts. But if there were people out there saying the Broncos are phonies, the Broncos are frauds, maybe Nick Wright or somebody like that, who cares? Then you're completely wrong, because the Broncos are here. Are they on that elite level? Will they win 10, 11, 12, 13 games? What's your number? Chat room, tell me. I'm heading to your comments as we get to the 30-minute mark here on Orange and Blue Today, Postgame Live. And because we're halfway through, it means that, hey, thank you again for watching. How about I take a swig of Mountain Dew and you watch a little word from our sponsor. Today's episode of Orange and Blue Today is presented by Ramos Law, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Ramos Law was founded by Dr. Joseph Ramos, an attorney and ER doctor, to provide exceptional care to those injured in accidents. With a unique understanding of both medicine and law, the Ramos Law team is built to fight for you every step of the way. Experience the Ramos Law difference. Contact them today at ramoslaw.com. All right, time to get to your comments. Got 922 comments. I'm not going to get to them all, but it's time to talk about it. Patrick says schedule going to get tougher. Yeah, that's right. Nate says forget the Chiefs. That's what the F stands for, right? And then it's coming in hot and heavy. Valentino says now we can beat good teams. Yeah, there's so many narratives that are just falling by the wayside. Thank God that we're getting to the point where, well, they can't beat anybody. All right, okay. We're going to say that every time they have a win. You know, with the fourth quarter comebacks, the confidence you're building, the comfort level in which Bo Nix plays, this team can beat anybody. I said that after the Eagles win, and I stick by my story. That's a team that can beat anybody. Creaky. Let's go 15-2. All right. I like that, Creaky. You're crazier than I am, and that's tough to do. So there you go. Swink says 11-13 wins, depending on injuries. Again, if someone has a PS2 update, just let me know. I don't think Coach Payton would say much of anything. There's not much you can really say until there's further examinations. So let's go. This one from Watch Me Squatch would be number one in the AFC if not for a leverage call. I never said, and again, I'm officially certifiable. I'm nuts. I'm crazy, right? When I said 13 wins, I never said number one seed in the AFC. Now that's a possibility. We're in week 9, okay? This is week 8. Week 8 is done. Broncos win. Thank you, Broncos. But now entering week 9, we can have the conversation halfway through the season. The Broncos could be in line for the number one seed in the AFC. And even I didn't think that would happen. So go make it happen. How about everyone that wants to go to the Super Bowl has to come through Denver? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? This kind of win shows we can win against anyone. That's right. And defensively, the way that they, just shut down the Cowboys. Not everything, 7 catches for CD, 7 catches for George, whatever. But the way that you handled that team, Vance Joseph, the highest comment on this show, on Orange and Blue Today, presented by ramoslaw.com, the highest compliment is this Patrick Bateman kiss. VJ, that's for you, buddy. That's for you, Vance Joseph. A hell of a game plan. That's right, VJ. That's you, buddy. That's all you. Smiles. Oh, okay. Yeah, great job, Vance Joseph. Outstanding job by VJ in this one, and you want to see it more. Let's get back to your chats here in the live chat. Cornbread. There you go, Cornbread. I hope you heard my shout out to you a little bit earlier. He appreciates some of his comments. Thank you for that. Thank you, Cornbread. Tommy says, no one wants to play us. And Tommy, you're exactly right. Because if you look at these teams, now you look at the Broncos as, Happy learned how to putt. If this Broncos offense can get rolling, if they can introduce RJ Harvey more to the equation, Evan Ingram getting settled in his role, not as exciting as we wanted it to be. That's just who he is right now. That's not no shot against Evan Ingram. It's just the truth, and it's not meant to make you feel good. He's no longer the stretch tight end that he used to be. That's just the way it is. Court making plays, always. Mims, feisty. Troy Franklin coming through. Pat Bryant coming through. I was texting with my buddy Mark, and yes, Mark texted me, am I doing a postgame show? Just tune in, buddy. Denver Sports YouTube. So I was texting with my buddy Mark about Devon Vele, and I was like, Vele can't even get on the field. Apologies to my man Zach Bye when he lost his mind when they trade Devon Vele. And again, get as offended as you like, but like that move doesn't affect him. He can't get on the field with the Saints. So let Pat Bryant play. Let Pat Bryant do more. Let Troy Franklin do more. And this team, we don't even need to think about Devon Vele anymore. And that's been that way for 2 months, basically. So, and TD, I like this one. TD says, I'll take only 2 sacks if we get 2 picks. That's right. First time you've seen 2 picks since 24 season in the same game. So that's off the top of my head. I think they said that on the broadcast. So thank you for that. By the way, Dan says, Cecil, I have that same TD jersey. Excellent choice. Excellent choice. Yeah, these things are awesome. And because it's been thrown in the dryer, the numbers have cracked. And that's why I don't wear it very often, because I'm not going to wash it. And if I do wash it, I'm certainly not going to throw it in the dryer. But yeah, Terrell Davis. He never played in the 94 75th anniversary throwbacks. I hate with the fire of 1,000 suns those fake jerseys. I've changed my opinion on fake jerseys because jerseys are expensive and everything's expensive and money's tight for everybody. So like, go, get your jerseys. Just don't get a 75th anniversary Terrell Davis jersey because he was at Georgia in 1994. This was 95 or 96 because that's the only 2 years that Terrell Davis wore this, and it's a real champion jersey, even though it's the iron on things because it was champion, of course. But like, yeah, perfect day to break out the old throwbacks. Everyone wear throwbacks on Monday. I'm calling it Spirit Day on Dover and Cecil. I want to see everyone in their throwback jerseys. I'll just wear this tomorrow. So there you go. More of your comments from the chat. And I like this one from Narm, sorry. Now we need to be consistent and they will have no fear. Love it. Tom saying, if the offensive line can be as consistent run blocking and making good holes against better defenses, we can beat anyone. That's very true. And this offensive line grading out very positively as run blockers and pass blockers. So even without Ben Powers, the one game with Matt Pert and he was banged up, whatever, but like, okay, that's the thing. The offensive line, the trenches, it's where you win in this league. Defensively, they can get after you by not blitzing. And then when they do blitz, you're in trouble. You're in a bunch of trouble today if you were Dak Prescott. That's for sure. Creaky's keys were key. That's right, John. If you know, you know. Stay tuned. Dover and Cecil. Moss didn't even get beat by one of their good receivers either. Yeah, the Tolbert thing, like, yeah, whatever. Give him the garbage time. It's fine. See what happens, says Brandon, with a balanced offense. Run the ball, Sean. And when Bo is allowed to do both things, this is the formula. And not only is this the formula, but this is the way. This is the way. I'm an official Star Wars nerd. So yes, this is the way. This is how you can make a deep postseason run. This is how you can just beat anybody, hang with anybody, have all sorts of deep postseason conversations. You can do that because you can do this. You can do that because you can now take down anyone with a balanced attack. So yes, run the ball, Sean, and let Bo be Bo. So these are the things that you can do. And as I said earlier, I just had to grab it off the interwebs. This is the way. That's right. This is the way. What's a little fuzzy? I'll try to find a better one. Anyway, back to more of your comments here. Orange and Blue today, post-game live. Got 2,100, almost 2,200 people watching live. Thank you very much for doing that. This one from Sace. Sace or Sache? Saci 65 says, Denver can beat anyone this year. The Mile High Maulers. I like that. That's a good one. This one from Robbie. Need to look to a number one corner from a fire sale team. I think you're buyers. You need to be buyers. I asked Sean Payton on Wednesday about that. I don't believe we have the video here. But I did ask him about the trade deadline, the trade market, because he said guys' playing time would go up, guys' playing time would go down. And he said, depends on a couple of things, but we're happy with who we have. But they still should be buyers. They still should be buyers. I love this from Touchdown Bo Nix. Where are the Knicks haters at now? They're doing nothing. And that's the thing. Like, if you're hating on Bo Nix, you don't pay attention to football. If you have questions about Bo Nix, that's fair. Questions are fair. He's got to be better, and Sean's got to call a better game for him. I thought both of those things happened today. And he wasn't perfect. He still had the pick, but like, this is the way that Sean Payton can call these games. This is the way the Broncos can beat anyone. This is the way that they can hang with anyone. Offensively, the offense is where we had the questions. Defensively, I had questions today because of the Cowboys offense. Those questions were answered in a big, big way. Roger says pick and showboating while down 20 was classic. Usually, Roger, and it doesn't mean they're going to bat 1,000, but usually when the Steelers give up on you or move on from you, there's reasons why. There's reasons why. And there's certainly enough about George Pickens being, diva-ish or selfish or whatever. Like, there's all those sort of things. But that's the Cowboys' problem, not the Broncos' problem. So there you go. Beavis says, I want the Colts again. I want Bo Nix to cheer right in front of their annoying owner's face on the sidelines. I'd be satisfied with that win. There you go. Last 5 quarters, Bo Nix, 500-plus passing yards and 8 touchdowns in the last 5 quarters. Jason, that is insane. An insane stat. That's what it is. Mayor says, Colts are the only team I'd be worried to play because of Jonathan Taylor. But at the same time, Mayor, I would also say I'm not worried about anybody. I'm not worried about any team. Put the Chiefs out there. Put the Bills out there. Put it in Buffalo. I don't care. They can break tables and overeat and drink too much. That sounds like Bills fans. Like, go ahead. Go for it. Go beat them in their place. I don't care. I'm not afraid of the Colts. Not afraid of the Bills. Certainly not afraid of the Chiefs. Not afraid of the Chargers. Like, this team can hang with anyone. This team can beat anyone. Bring on New England. The Drake May conversation, like May versus Knicks. If that becomes a rivalry, I would love that. I'll put my, I won't say chips on Bo Nix, but like, I will put my faith in Bo Nix. How about that? Baron over KAD, in my opinion, says Arcan 21. Just hope we have Pat against KC. We'll see. And Uns 360 says, it's crazy how much a good team can change your mood. I've been down, depressed, got laid off, but I felt energy today that I haven't felt in a long time. Uns, appreciate you, man. And sometimes when one door closes, another one opens. So just watch for those open doors, and the opportunities are going to be there. So Uns, appreciate you. Thanks for jumping in on the show. And it is amazing. I let a bunch of 20-year-old men affect my mood during the week. I let a bunch of 20-year-old men affect my mood on this show. So I'm excited. I'm very satisfied. Again, I'm not like super hyped up like the choo-choo train guy and Waterboy, like, woo, woo, woo. You sound like a big choo-choo train. I'm not like that guy, but I'm so satisfied because I knew they could do this. And it has nothing to do with, I know football or whatever, but it's like, Bo Nix is talented. J.K. Dobbins is talented. Offensive line is talented. Court's talented. Franklin's talented. Ingram's talented. Like, offensively, defensively, the Surtain injury, yes. But, like, offensively is where the questions were. But I knew they could be this way. I'm not saying 44 against every team. Again, the Cowboys' defense sucks. But when you face defenses that suck, you're supposed to do this to them. It's one of the reasons why I can't say I was disappointed in the Bengals game, because a W is a W and who gives a crap. But against the Bengals, it was like, okay, you're kind of rumbling, bumbling, stumbling a little bit and stumbling a little bit too much. You should have doubled your score or at least had, 35, 40 points against the Bengals. You didn't. So, but either way, it's still a win. So who cares? Marching forward, moving on while learning and getting better, while learning, growing, and adapting. Sounds like what we should all do in football and in life. So there we go. Goal line stand on the opening drive showed the defense was ready to ball today. Matt, oh, that was perfect. That was big. It was absolutely big. When you throw that pick and they get the ball so close and then you hold them and you have that defensive stand and then the next time out they punt. I thought this game was going to be a track meet, and I joked about 51-50, Broncos win, Van Halen score. But it's like, that's when that offense doesn't score a touchdown, you won. When that offense, the Cowboys offense, doesn't score a touchdown, I'm not saying you're lucky, but you need to take advantage of that offensively, and the Broncos did. So the Cowboys weren't scoring, which is unusual for them. The Broncos did score, and they just kept it up. And when you do that, when you play with this sort of balance, then the pass rushers just pin their ears back. When you make a team one-dimensional, then against this Broncos defense, you're one-dimensional against the Broncos? Ha, good luck. Why did I sound like Vince Vaughn and Swingers there? Ha, ha. You're a bear, man. You're a big bleeping bear. Vance Joseph and this Broncos defense, big bear, man. That's what they are. Nate says 77 points in the last 8 quarters is insane. Yeah, it's absolute insanity by the Denver Broncos. Tom saying the interception was Bo because he threw it behind the receiver, not if Bryant didn't flatten that route. Brian might have ran it wrong. Again, we're nitpicking. Honestly, I'll be quite honest, other than curiosity, I don't care if Bo's fault or Pat's fault. If it's Pat's fault, it's more correctable. And by the way, if it's Bo's fault, he's not really a mistake repeater. So, yeah. Okay. And again, Tom's one of the real ones. So I'm not saying Tom's making a big deal out of it. I just I'm kind of curious, but at the same time, I don't really care. The Troutman call and offense pairing, what the actual, don't run pick plays. Again, you can call holding on every play. You can call defensive pass interference on most every play, and you can call picks on pick plays. So I know Troutman was like putting his hands up, and he's trying to show, you have to show and put better effort in showing that you're running a route. Are NFL officials totally on the money? No, not at all. Are they on the take like NBA officials, allegedly, or I guess not allegedly? What's happening with the NBA? Is the NBA wrestling? Like, seriously. Anyway, the refs aren't great in the NFL at all in any game, not just Broncos games, pretty much any game. So the OPI on Troutman, am I going to lose my mind over it? Not really. Again, they won satisfying fashion. Trout's got to do a better job of selling it. You can't just put your hands up. You can't run into somebody and be like, it wasn't me. Was it, or are you Shaggy? It wasn't me. So, in that situation and the way that's set up, do you just try to show that you're open instead of putting your hands up? Do you put your hands out like you're turning for a stop route for a catch right there? Would that convince the official not to throw the flag? Maybe, but it's NFL officials and they suck. So at least they're not on the take like the NBA, allegedly, or whatever I have to say. There we go. Just had some troll here in the chat room I had to get rid of. So there you go. Got to keep the Chiefs at bay, says Bert. I agree. Tillman with those moves, says Chris. That's right. Had some moves afterwards. That was great. No Diggity says, feels good when this team puts it all together, doesn't it? Absolutely. Outstanding. Does the rest of the league now see us as a contender? Asks Tegan. They better. They better. If people are sleeping on the Broncos, I'm okay with that. Go ahead. And, this is for the Nick Wrights or just an insert name of whoever. If name somebody that's not Nick Wright, just whoever. I don't know. Stephen A. If someone out there, Greeny, Mike Greenberg, if someone out there is not considering the Broncos as a contender, I don't have to worry about it because their opinion's not valid. The Broncos are a contender. They're a Super Bowl contender. As I said many times, Super Bowl 60s is theirs until it's not. Doubt sees the obstacle and faith sees the way. Do you have faith or not? It's a mere question. Not for Tegan, but for people out there. You're a football expert and you're not going to have the Broncos as a contender, then you're not paying attention. And I love the magical thinking from that locker room. I'll go back to that Eagles game, which I thought was going to be a loss. Just the way that locker room is put together, the way that they are together, the way that they all like Sean. Isn't that weird? Sean's not a real likable guy. Okay. I'm around him every week. He's usually very nice to me. So I appreciate that. Sometimes he's not nice to me. And I still appreciate that. I'm still going to be there, Sean. Still going to be asking questions, Sean. Sean Payton's not a real likable guy. And don't give me the Russell Wilson thing about a bounty. You have to be of value to actually have a bounty, Russ. So go away. Please, Russell Wilson, go on. Shoot, go away. But I can tell you, to a man, every single one of those players like Sean Payton, and that's weird. I would say everyone loved Gary on the kick drum, right? Super Bowl 50. Everyone loved Gary. Pretty much everyone loved Foxy, right? Because it's Foxy. But those guys are likable. Like Gary Kubiak is likable. John Fox is incredibly likable. He'd just come over and tell Dick Cheney jokes to us on the sidelines. It was awesome. I remember talking to John Fox about Ant-Man one time on the sideline of practice because two of his sons, he has 3 sons, 2 of his sons work for Marvel. And at the time they just finished, tells you how long ago it was, Captain America Winter Soldier. And they were going to work on Ant-Man. And Foxy comes over to me because he knows I'm a comic book nerd. And Foxy's like, what the hell's an Ant-Man? And it blew my mind. I was able to tell him about Scott Lang. And I was so happy. And then I was like, yeah, he probably doesn't really care about any of that. But that's okay. That's why I love Foxy. So Foxy likable, Coob's likable. VJ for the most part, but guys knew that he didn't have any power because Elway took all the power from VJ. Really, really, VJ's going to have a better chance in his second stop as a head coach, maybe this year. But either way, the guys like Sean. The guys want to play for Sean. The guys know if they do their job, they'll get the rock from Sean. So that's really cool. And again, kind of unusual because Sean can rub you the wrong way. That's right. Axe says Cecil, RJ, Pat, and Jade, baby. Rookie showcase today. I love that. Absolutely love that. And you'll want to continue to see it more, right? It took 8 weeks for the rookie showcase. Let's see it some more. Not going to be every week. I'm not asking for it every week. Just want to see it more and more. Ashley, one of my favorites here, Ashley Watson Comedy, says, so happy for Franklin. Me too. Because of the drops and the problems and the rookie struggles, the ups and downs with Troy Franklin, and even this year starting out hot and then going away, kind of drops coming back, and then having the big day today. I love that for Troy Franklin. And Ashley, thank you for jumping into the chat room as you always do. True. Rookies came through big time, says Chris. Love it. Todd saying great team win, getting the young guys involved. There we go. And there you go. Let's see. This was the least amount this game of yardage fouls from Power Ranger. Power Ranger Anthony. There you go. Giving up yardage from fouls. This was the least amount this game. I'd have to check that out. Power Ranger Anthony, one of my favorites out there. So thank you for jumping on board. And check out his hot sauce, everybody. AK Southsider says the national media always talks more about what the other team didn't do rather than what Denver does. Right. The Giants choked, right? It wasn't the Broncos an amazing historic comeback. It was the Giants choking. It was the Eagles messing up more than the Broncos winning. How many times they're going to say that after the Super Bowl too? Well, yeah, I mean, what had happened is that the Packers, they kind of messed up. And the Broncos won Super Bowl 60, but it was the Packers that dropped the ball Okay, let him. If you're hoisting the Lombardi and Sean Payton is saying this one's for me with the Lombardi trophy, yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay with that. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Flowers for Sternod. Again, Kevin, I'm not a flowers kind of guy, except for my lady, but not for players or men. But been loving his play this season. Sternod's come through, and he's made some big plays for this team. That's for sure. So we will definitely hand out our post-game awards. I used to do game balls and soccer balls, kickballs. I would maybe bring that back. Axe saying Broncos rookies looked as smooth as Cecil's luscious locks. That's right. So thank you very much for that. Only 2 sacks. We are spoiled. Yeah, that's right. By the way, it says P.S. Dre will be back next week. Yeah, that was a concern that wasn't as much of a concern, right? Mike Lorenzo, one of the best artists out there. And by the way, did that cover of Sue Immortal right there. That's a Mike Lorenzo cover. Mike Lorenzo checks in, says, haha, good call on those throwbacks. Mike, let me know when you're around, buddy. We'll go get Starbucks again sometime. And if you want to do more work, because I love your art. Again, that is an outstanding cover, everybody. From one Mike Lorenzo. Fix a must. Going to be a fun morning tomorrow. That's right. It always feels better on a Monday, a Tuesday, and beyond when the Broncos win and get that win. Fun to have the Nuggets back, see the Avs get back on track, whatever. But yeah, it's always great when the Broncos get this sort of win. Nate saying that's the flea market special jersey, Cecil. It's just old. That's why. No flea market. Don't at me, bro. Don't at me, Nate. It's just old. That's why the numbers are like that. But it's a very rare. Dan said earlier in the chat, he's got one of these. You do not see a real champion Terrell Davis 95-96 jersey. You do not see him. They're ghosts. So I'm a proud owner of this. That's for sure. Yaron says, love the throwbacks. Best get up in all of football. That's right. Tillman looked like Earl Campbell. Yeah, I think Jim Nance mentioned something about Walter Payton. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Nobody's sweetness, okay? He's my favorite player of all time. So, need a shot of Ozempic. Wait a second, Felix. Wait a second. Now, for purposes, I think I have to say allegedly, but didn't Ozempic give a bunch of people problems? I know you lost weight automatically or whatever it is, but I thought there was a bunch of problems. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I missed that or whatever. So, yeah, that shot of Ozempic, unless it's bad for you. Love seeing the same type of play throughout the game. Creaky, that is outstanding. I'm going to steal that from you. I'll give you a quarter every time I say it. Or maybe one of those breakfast burritos from the Valero in Roxborough. Those gas station burritos, man. Yes, appreciate it, Creaky. Thank you very much for chiming in here as well. Several times. There you go, Gabriel. Several times I yelled, they're running flood, Cecil. Flood, run, pray. They ran flood. They ran. Did you run? They ran. And I suppose they prayed. I hope they prayed because their defense showed up in a big way. A big, big way. What did you think about Palcho's performance today? I'll assume that's Palcho. I'll give you the Sean Payton answer. Let me go back and watch the film. But Tobster says, man, Palcho looks pretty good at guard. And that's the thing. Like, we didn't notice him. And by we, I mean me and my multiple personalities. We didn't notice him. So if you didn't notice him, that means it was good, right? But again, I'll go back and watch. Ashley again. Broncos controlled all 4 quarters. Haven't seen that in a while either. Exactly. A game that you control from start to finish. That is fantastic. Absolutely outstanding. And yes, Gabe, Benito was getting tackled and held all day. I did see that multiple times. So there you go. And yes, RJ Harvey is the Joker. Cornbread. Well, Cornbread, I'm not going to doubt you. I would just say he's not an elite level receiver, which is what Sean said a Joker was. Like, he's a good receiver. I wouldn't say he's an elite level receiver, but that's semantics, baby. RJ Harvey did it, so I'm not going to argue with you today. Tomorrow, I'll get back to arguing. Mims did get rocked multiple times, Stoney. I was worried about that. Marvin's my dude. Like, I love talking to Marvin. He's always angry. He's not angry with me, but he's just like, he's an angry guy. But I appreciate his game. And yeah, I was a little worried when he kept getting rocked, whether it was return, reception, run, whatever. Like, yeah, the haters, where the haters at? They're on quiet status. That's right. Who looked better, Broncos rookies or Cease in the smoking gum beanie? That's right. Appreciate you out there as always. Smoking Gun Comics, because my passion is football and comic books. So that's for sure. Did we go after Waddle? The interesting thing about the Broncos being interested in a wide receiver, and I think it was Diana Rossini. Somebody had a report, and then everybody picks it up. The Broncos will be interested in a wide receiver. I'd say it's more tight end, but hey, you can get a guy like Waddle if the price is good. Add more talent to the room. I believe the Broncos need to be buyers. And honestly, I'll say this, and I don't think it'll bite me in the ass. Not that I'm worried about saying stuff that'll bite me in the ass. Hell, I said Tyler Bidet could be the number 2 back today. And it was clearly RJ Harvey. So I don't worry about that. But, like, they can get whoever, and that doesn't really matter to me. Well, they got Waddle, and it confuses the room. Yeah, it's just more competition. Or they got TJ Hawkinson. Like, okay, it's more competition. Like, you're buyers. If they get a run, they get Breece Hall. Like, yeah, okay. Sorry, RJ, you're going to have to wait. They get Breece Hall. So, like, I really don't care who they get, but I believe they need to be buyers. You need to secure yourself as a Super Bowl contender. That's what we learned about the Broncos today. So don't let this trade deadline pass you by without being buyers. All right, that's a wrap. I'm over an hour. And I have another show to do. It's called The Audible. Fantasy football, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I know that's not Jim Carrey, by the way. Somebody said that. It made me mad. That's Mike Patton. And if you don't know Mike Patton, this is what I'm saying to you right now. What? You don't know that guy? He's a musical genius, by the way. Look up Mondo Cane, the song Deep, Deep Down. It's Italian pop music from the 60s. He does with the Italian Harmonic Orchestra. And it is flipping-tastic. That's what I give on this show, the highest compliment. And Sean Payton. Sean, buddy, thank you. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Got a Keanu kiss for all of you. I'm Cecil Lammey saying thank you. Stay tuned. And would you please stay frosty?